Welcome to Financials with Ahawo. It's such a joy to be together again as we continue on the Making Wealth series and focusing on family wealth. We've been talking about doing finances with others, whether it's business, whether it's investments, sharing ideas as a family. And today we just want to look at an interesting part around that, which is how to separate. So I know when it comes to working together with others, there has to be a point of agreement on how do we stay distinct as individuals and how do we still stay together in terms of what has brought us together, the bigger goal of the financial achievement. It's not an easy conversation to have because most people think about how to separate in form of conflict, but it does not necessarily have to be there. In fact, the best advice is that it never gets to a place of conflict, but it's addressed from the beginning so that then it's always a part of the conversation. How do we enable or ensure that there's the uniqueness of the individuals, but there's still the unity of the community, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, like that. The first thing we should think about in this area is what we've been saying, the documenting. Documentation enables us to see clearly what we are working towards. Why? One, it's written down. 2, it's thought through. And 3, it's accountability. So the moment I write down that I, Patricia, agreed to come and do a business with Emmanuel, and together with Emmanuel, these are the goals we'll be working towards, and this is what we'll be putting in together concerning that goal. It's so easy to distinctly see where Patricia begins and ends and where Emmanuel begins and ends. The purpose of that is so that in the event that we are trying to create the next level, trying to add other people, it's very easy to tell this is where they can come alongside us. And also in the event that that particular engagement is closing, it's very easy to tell this is where we get off from. Now that's 1. Then 2, it's key because timelines will always apply when it comes to finances. Very few financial undertakings are like this is a lifetime, but most of them apply within timelines. Even if it's something like maybe we're building a house together and then we're going to rent it out and things like that. After 10 years, the style of housing may change, and we decide, you know what, we want to sell, and everybody wants to do something different, So timelines become key. So even as you choose to work together with others, what timelines are you setting? And we touched on timelines earlier as we've spoken, because then it helps our goals to be that nice smart one, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. It's very key to determine what are the time frames of engagement. If it's a lifetime, how will we handle the different things that will happen during the lifetime? Because, for instance, we could choose to engage as friends. Maybe we are young, we are in university, single, living at home, or living in a place supported by family, and it's very easy. But then in the next 5 years, half of the group will be married, maybe traveling the world, a child or 2, wanting to make certain big investments either for themselves or as a family. So it becomes important to determine then how will we engage across these different timelines, because also life will look different for each of us. Even if we have a common goal financially, an agreement on what we're doing financially, life will still be playing out differently for each of us. So how do we handle each of those seasons? So that becomes key. Then the third thing that's extremely important is who else, other than us who have agreed to do the business together, is speaking into this. Because like it or not, we live in community, and we have different people who influence the things that we are thinking about, the things we're planning. Some of us tend to be more internally focused, so we decide what we want to do, and it doesn't matter who says what. Some of us tend to be more externally focused. We think through what we want to do, we share it with a couple of people, and then we venture into it. And it's okay. It's the diversity of the human person. But we also have to consider that when we're working together, because we could be in a place where maybe it's two friends, and one of them is strongly influenced by their spouse. So what the spouse will contribute to the engagement becomes key. Are we allowing them to contribute in a way that builds the engagement? Then another may be strongly influenced by the parents. What does it mean for them? How do they listen this out? Do they look at how their parents have done finance and want to model that? Another may be influenced by siblings. How have the siblings engaged in finances? What are their siblings take? What are their siblings doing? Do they want to take the same direction? And another may be influenced by friends. What are their friends doing? So it's very important to also factor who are the other people. Yes, they are not a key participant or signatories, let's use that word, this financial engagement, but they are still a voice that speaks in this, because then that also determines how the engagement is going to flow and how separation occurs, because some of these people may be key. We could be in business and agree, and I say, okay, in the event that I'm away, I'm deceased, I'm incapacitated, I'd like you to pass 1, 2, 3 to my brother. I'd like you to pass 1, 2, 3 to my sister. To pass 1, 2, 3 to my wife, things like that. So that also becomes key in how we engage and how we think about the separation aspect in terms of the people who are speaking into our lives, who inadvertently are also influencing how we do financially with others. There's a lot we could break down in an area, but the aim here is just to get you to realize that look at this engagement full circle, beginning to end. Just the way we've been walking through it. How did it begin? We had a common goal we wanted to achieve. We sought to see who is the right person to achieve this goal with us. Then we come and we try and understand this person. What do they want? What do I want? How can we achieve it together? Then we think through how then should we come to a close of this? Are we going to end it? What are the timelines we are looking at? What are the voices that are speaking to us? And how are we making sure that everybody comes out of this better? Finance is a journey. That's something I'll keep saying. And I'll also urge you, keep writing, keep writing. The things you put in paper are so defined. They keep you so accountable. Scripture says, write down your vision, make it known. And it's not to write it down and then put it on your status. Oh yeah. It's just to write it for yourself, that you can go back to it. That when there's someone who you can trust and you're accountable to, and they ask you what I'm thinking through, you can present it and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the progress I've made. This is where I'm stuck. So I'm also urge you, keep writing, keep visioning, and put it in a place that your spirit will be reminded of it so that it can come to pass. Thank you so much for listening. It's always a joy to share with you. Until next time, it's Ahawo.